Good evening and thank you very much for joining us once again for your favorite sports show, The Scoreboard. Now, this is a show that takes you inside what's going on in the world of sports, around what's going on in the world of sports, and also deep behind what's going on in the world of sports. And this week has been another week that was full of action and full of tribulations, both on the field and off the field. Let me give you the highlights of some of what we'll be discussing today. Number one, rugby is firmly in the highlights. That's because Kenya is hosting the World Under-20 Rugby Championship starting at the Nyayo National Stadium on Saturday. Be there to root for Kenya's Chipukizi. Plus the fact that now Kabras revenged their defeat in Kisumu in the Dallas Sevens by winning the Driftwood Sevens. That was in Mombasa. We'll have details of what happened in there, who scored what tries and at what time, and that will be one of the highlights. The other one is that the Kenya National Athletics Trials were held over the weekend. That's last weekend. Now, the team that is going to the World Athletics Championships in Budapest in Hungary has been selected. It comprises some world beaters, but it also has some juniors who are posting some very good times and who are also expected to bring in the medals for the country. So it was a mini Olympics, as you know, whenever Kenya is hosting the trials. And it happened at the same time when the US was holding their trials as well. Jamaica was holding their trials as well. So some very impressive, results in all, and especially in the Kenya National Athletic Trials. We'll talk about that in just one while. Now, if you think that bans are over, then there's one looming over the weekend, and that is the one that is coming from aquatics world, and that is the swimming ban. The Kenya Swimming Federation is in trouble one more time. They didn't hold the elections on time. We don't know whether it's the court cases that is stopping them. We don't know whether it's the factions that want things to go one way or the other. You can actually say that things in swimming have gone gagna. Inexplicable and very difficult to understand, but we'll have someone to explain to us exactly what is going on. So that's the highlights. I am Bernardo Tieno. I am not alone here. I am in the company of some very good men, but as usual, we always want you to be part of the conversation in what we are talking about. And this time round, just a word of encouragement to Kenya's Chipukizi for rugby. Why don't you give me that word? I am at Bernard_sports. And then Ken Chege will be at KChege_sports, and the captain Wilfred Bungay is at Wilfred Bungay. So that's what I would like you to give us today. Just a word of encouragement to the Chipukizi who will be playing the World Athletics Championships, in the World Rugby Championships, in the Under-20 Championships. Let me introduce the team. The cool kid, Ken Chege. Ken, how are you? Good, thank you. You don't look like you went to the barbers this time round.
I did, only that
You're paying him half.
The weather is a little under.
So he left something for you on the...
Yes, he's protecting me.
And a good week. You take us off then. What worked out for you?
A fantastic week, and what worked for me worked this afternoon. It was just a very good sentimental feeling to see Harambee Stars being on the draw for the 2026 World Cup, Africa World Cup qualifiers. And they've been grouped in Group F against Seychelles, Cote d'Ivoire, Gabon, Gambia, and Burundi. Whether we can make it or not doesn't matter. For me, seeing Harambee Stars there after all this, after 2 years, I think is
this is where we go wrong. What do you mean whether we do well or not?
Doesn't matter.
No.
The step is we are there.
I totally refuse. We have to get out of that mentality. We are not going there to get certificates of participation. We've got to go there to win. We've got to get there to win games.
Now we are there.
Yes, that's important to say. So that worked for you. Excellent. Captain Wilfred Bungay, you have been in this before. The World Athletics Championships team was selected over the weekend. And I know you'll have a comment on that, but what worked for you this week?
Well, actually, what worked is basically what was happening over the weekend at Nyayo Stadium. My biggest happiness going to the World Championships is that we have new kids, teenagers, that have already met a team, and that is in 1500 meters women by Nelly Chepchirchir and Penina Motisha on the 800 meters. Every now and then when you see the young people coming up and at least teenagers making, it means we are going to have a very good performance.
There are two other teenagers we'll talk about as well. One is in the steeplechase, and she's still a Form 4 student as well, and only 18 years old. And another one as well, Faith Chepchirchir. We'll talk about them when we come to that. Anything else that worked for you? What didn't work for you?
Well, actually, I didn't have much.
Okay, everything worked for you.
Yeah.
It's good always when something works for you. No news is good news sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Angelo Okutoi lost, I had to say that.
Is she playing in the Wimbledon?
No, she's playing in the Tunisia A30.
All right, okay.
But she's in the semis in the women's doubles.
Okay,
tomorrow.
That's news now. Now that's not something that didn't work for you. That's just news, eh?
Her loss didn't work.
One of the biggest news that worked for me in the week is the fact that the 100 meters women's world record is at stake at the moment. The times that were posted by Sherika Jackson, by Sha'Carri Richardson, 10.71, 10.65, the Jamaican championships and the US championships point to the fact that that record, actually the 100 and the 200 meters records, might fall at the World Championships, just judging by the times. Sha'Carri posted 10.71 and Sherika posted 10.65, and then there's Marie Jose Talu as well. So we'll watch out for that and see what is going to happen there. Now, the thing that did not work out for me is the news that the Harambee Stars coach, Engin Ferrat, even as you're talking about Harambee Stars being there, has not been paid for 8 months. You know, in as much as we don't like to talk about money, it's the biggest motivator on earth. If you don't get a salary, it's very difficult to work. That didn't work out for me, but we hope that things are going to turn and change. Well, that's it then. Let's get into the discussion for tonight. And we'll start off with rugby and the Driftwood Sevens. Last week, it was Kabras and KCB in Kisumu, where KCB then were reigning supreme over there and getting the better of everybody else. But this time round in Mombasa, it was the Kabras side that beat Menengai Oilers 10-7 in the finals. It was a little bit of a revenge, wasn't it, Ken?
Yes, it was. And to see that this actually went to the final, to extra time, because they were tied 7-all. Kabras is really a powerhouse. They've surprised everyone, and their loss in Kisumu during the Dallas Sevens seems to have been just one of those bad days, and they're headed places. So I don't know. Let's wait and see what happens in Prince.
Yes, you have some.
I think especially when you're talking about the Sugarman, that is Kabras. If you look for them, they are trying to improve Bernard because remember that the last, they were in the semi-finals where they lost to KCB, and I think this time around they are in for a revenge on this. Yeah.
So now they're topping the log at the moment, with that 10-7 win. Now they have to credit their win to one man, Dennis Abukuse. He scored a try and converted his own try. Now that helped them. And then Kevin Wekesa, who had a try but which was converted by Barry Robinson. And this made them now celebrate and a revenge as well. So Kabras 12-7, Strathmore Leos had been beaten by Kabras before. And then in the other semi-final, Menengai Oilers had beaten KCB 17-12. So KCB was not doing very well there. In the quarters, Kabras had beaten Nondis 21-0.
Just imagine. I don't know, Nondis, that was a real shocker.
21-0. I mean, they just didn't do. But that's not even bad. Strathmore Leos now beat Queens 22-0.
22-0.
It tells you, Bernard, the kind of preparation that they have prepared, especially for the Strathmore, it tells you that these teams have prepared, for the trophy, for the big trophy for them to win.
Absolutely.
And that's why.
But it also points at a resurgence of now rugby again at a time when we had a downturn.
Yes. Well, remember that the national team, is where we have a problem, and I think what will be very important moving to the future is to pick those players who are doing very well, because the scouters who are manning the national team should be able to go there and see who is in a better position for them to be able to represent the country, and at least we can get back the glory that we used to have.
And when you see the crowds,
as we move into rugby and still some more, we still talk about rugby. On our second story, we're talking about now the Rugby World Cup, the Under-20 Rugby World Cup, which is being held in Kenya. Not the first time; it's the second time it's being held here. Actually, the third time that it's being held in Africa, because Zimbabwe has also held it before. And there are 8 teams that have already arrived into the country for that. Now, Chipukizi, that is the Kenya national team.